not done.
My house is never done. This is my life.
I shouldn't be able to see the joist.
Is that the main?
All
Is
right.
that your living room?
This is my basement.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you remodeled from last time I was there.
I started working on it. Anyway, this is the beginning of the new CouncilCast. Is my going on about my half-finished basement. Welcome to this episode.
I don't know that we ever stopped the old CouncilCast.
This is
We
a
didn't.
back, baby. And welcome to
I
CouncilCast
guess.
number 26, because apparently we did done 25 previous episodes.
No, we haven't.
We have.
I don't believe you.
When was the
This
last
is
time
number
you guys did one?
2 years ago.
I still lived with Loremore.
That was only.
This is my first.
Yeah,
foray.
continue just to use my full name. We made it 10 seconds. God damn it.
All right. Well, anyway.
Privacy is dead. You should know this.
That's true. Everybody check out my LinkedIn profile.
I mean, at this point, all they need is your name and your Equifax account, and congratulations, I have all your shit.
You can find that elsewhere.
Just screen share it.
No.
Type in your social security number and hit on screen share.
I feel like I should be clicking on some of these topics. Also, LOL, way to send out the topics beforehand.
Yeah,
Thanks.
somebody forgot / I forgot.
All right. So let's roll. Which one are we starting with?
All right. So we are.
Boring.
Oh yeah, I should probably read the intro. CouncilCast is now in session, or the council is in session. Extraordinary people who come
Whatever.
together weekly to podcast and make arbitrary decisions about topics on science, technology, and random shit. Decisions are final and have no bearing on anything.
Perfect.
Topic 1.
Okay.
Topic 1 is saving the planet with vacuum cleaners. Vacuum cleaners save the planet.
No. Next topic.
Okay, good. That's a great way to debate this. No, next
Seconded.
topic.
I feel like
Motion stands.
I feel like I should have read the article.
Well, click in there. It's not very long.
In short,
Really?
a massive
They're gonna
air
vacuum-
capture facility that scrubs CO2 out of the environment.
Yeah, I think it would work. But I also use Brita filters on all my water and think that I'm like having healthy water now. So maybe
I have a really hard time with air capture anything because, like, I'm sure smart people are thinking about this, but it seems very hard to build all of this stuff and power it. And I guess if you were using like solar power to power this whole thing, then yes, then maybe the engineering works out. But I don't know. Like, is it really worth scrubbing all the CO2, or you can just plant a bunch of trees and get all the cars over to electric?
Yeah, trees. I was wondering about that too when this whole thing came out. I was like, when I read it, I was like, why are they not just planting more trees? Is the Amazon failing? Is Amazon failing?
I mean, the Amazon is failing. There's a reason it's been receding.
No, I mean, like, is Amazon.com failing at
Oh.
planting trees?
Is that something they do? Is that a box I forgot to check somewhere?
Amazon does offset a lot of their carbon dioxide or their energy use through energy credits and other green projects. So I think they're not killing the earth
That's how all the rich people do it.
as bad. They're using like all the shipping of shit that people used to go to the store and buy. That's killing the earth, but that's different.
Well, you know, one way or the other, they're going to get the job done. So,
Yay.
Somebody will kill the earth. Eventually. So vacuum cleaners are a no.
I think, well, what is the science behind it? I mean,
I don't
Carbon-
know. This article that's pushing this on me is like 400 words long.
I know, right? I mean,
It's just a big
makes perfect
CO2
sense.
scrubber.
It has an impressively clickbaity title of "Can the carbon vacuum cleaner save the planet?" It's like probably not. Next.
Of course.
Well, is
you have
it-
to cut costs and scale up, it says.
But would it be just one?
That's
right?
like, did you just boil this down to cut costs and then scale up? At which point do you bro down?
That's going to be
Like,
legit.
that's like, ain't nobody presenting like a fucking financial proposal in that way. Well, first we're gonna cut costs and then we're gonna scale up. and then all the profit's gonna roll in.
Oh, guys, we just had one viewer, and then we lost one viewer.
Good.
Sad day.
He
You
just completely
can't-
tore apart my
They
startup idea.
literally
too.
can't
Sucks.
handle our decisions.
My plan was to make a startup that would cut costs and then scale up.
So
Called
my version,
diet plan.
I have a counter to this. We don't need vacuum cleaners. We're gonna buy a bunch of those underwears that are used to filter your farts with carbon, and we're just gonna like put those on sails and drag them through the atmosphere, and that should work.
That shit's made out of activated charcoal, I think, and that probably would capture CO2 just fine. I don't know. It can capture motor oil that
I
your
don't
kid
know.
swallows.
I feel like this is a topic that I don't have enough knowledge on to make a decision on one way or the other, so I'm just gonna be annoyed.
You're
at it.
abstaining,
Cool.
so one of
No,
so
you
now
we
it's
should
gonna
go-
come down to 2 and 2.
May I
If you
hereby
don't- if you
officially
don't have
declare
enough-
we should move to Bitcoin mining because that's one we can all actually talk about. Like, what's the top?
Okay,
Yeah.
so all in favor of saving the planet with vacuum cleaners, thumbs
I'm in
up.
favor of saving the planet,
Thumbs
just
down
with,
if you're not.
but I don't
with
know
intelligence,
that we do it
right?
with like our Hoovers and stuff.
All right, but I'm gonna thumbs up that because
You're gonna give it the
I know what
thumbs
I'm
up.
talking about.
Well, Anthony doesn't like it.
Vacuum cleaners are a dumb idea.
All right, well, the council has decided.
all vacuums.
Oh man,
Topic's over.
I like how
Hacking-
I like how Bitcoin mining is. Oh, hacking! Wait, that's the next one.
Hacking via Wi-Fi.
Dude, I didn't so I was able to read one paragraph about
What?
this before we got rolling, and this is non-trivial stuff to talk about. And will require
What's the hacking via
Well, boil it
Wi-Fi
down
stuff?
to
What
a
the
rule of
fuck are we
10
talking
words.
about?
it's a concern about doing like an 802.1x style implementation of without doing like WPA2 EAP on it and using EPTLS as the protocol. So really just basic stuff that just standard table conversation.
I mean, you can't say that again without me getting an erection.
I don't know, Matt. Should we just talk about IV generation and AES counter mode while we're here? 'Cause
I mean,
it's
if by we
fascinating.
mean me sit here and listen to you talk about it, yeah, that sounds like a good time for me.
No, that's why I suggested the
question
Bitcoin
is-
one. I feel like that
Can
one.
you cut costs and scale up?
Yeah. Wait, was there a link that I missed for the Wi-Fi thing?
It's the second one that Blaine posted.
It's right after the
How
word
wireless
that says Wi-Fi question mark,
Bye-bye question mark?
and then there's a link.
Question mark?
Yeah, this is why we need the shit in advance.
All right, fine. We'll send it out earlier next week. We promise.
You said you were gonna send it out early the first time.
You're right, and we lied.
We know, Matt. I don't appreciate your attitude. Come back drunk next time.
I mean, I can go get a drink.
Please do. Well, just stay on though. Don't hang up
Click
because
off
that
by
was
the
a
time you
nightmare
said
trying to get
please
back.
do. Like
Trying to get
before
back.
you said please do. So while he's gone, I do want to mention I'm afraid he has a problem because when he gets frustrated, he drinks, and he's often frustrated.
Hi, thank you for tuning in, viewer one. You are our first listener watcher today. Appreciate you joining us. We're going to talk about Wi-Fi. Are we talking about Wi-Fi?
I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm sorry,
I think
viewer,
we're-
for coming in.
I think
We
we're
already
into
pissed off one of
Wi-Fi.
our panelists so badly that he went to go drinking instead.
Oh, and they left. They just left. I love how I can watch when they pop in and out.
All right,
That's
we're moving
great.
on. I think we're gonna just bury the hacking and move on to Bitcoin mining.
Okay, we'll thumbs down. Wi-Fi hacking is stupid, right?
Yeah.
Hacking is
Don't hack.
stupid.
Don't hack.
Don't hack, kids.
I prefer to chainsaw my trees.
It's actually
Okay.
funny you say don't hacking because I spent all night before dinner trying to create a super malicious Word document. It was a good time.
Why?
Oh, that sounds awesome.
A new vulnerability in Office.
macros or no?
No macros. Memory overflow off of object inclusion.
Via XML.
Just your standard doc type. As RTF, actually. Sorry, RTF parser.
Oh.
So, yeah. Boring
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
of
Who
course.
needs that?
The
Who needs
RTF.
that? Moving on.
The RTF farser.
My
What's
glass
a-
is too big.
Farser? What's a farser?
Parser,
Parser.
not farser.
Farger?
I don't think you have enough
Furger?
liquid in that glass.
What's your farger?
Faja.
Farja?
is
Farja?
Is Bitcoin your new father?
What about
so.
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin
Matt
mining.
does believe Bitcoin is his dad right now, right? Like
Ooh.
I mean, I believe it keeps going up, and in a very YOLO type fashion.
No, but you told me something about something is the only thing that ever loved me. Something my
Was it?
Bitcoin.
I never
I
said that.
go to sleep at night thinking about how much I needed acceptance and validation. Something like that.
Yes, that
Oh
sounds
yeah, that sounds like something Matt would say.
legit.
But so I was one of those people, right? Bitcoin hit 600, and I've been following it for a long time. Bitcoin hit $600 US, and I go like, "Oh my god, this is insane! What are these people doing?" And my friend Mike, he buys one at that price. I'm like, "Dude, you just lost your ass!"
Does he still
right?
have one?
I don't know. I don't know if he does or doesn't. I hope for his sake he does, and he sells it now. But
8171 right now.
I am too conservative, right? So like constantly with something like this, like an unregulated currency, like there's no way, there's just no way. And then to the moon.
Those are the best ones to speculate with.
Yeah, I guess. I like money. Like
Well, now that like so
in a
like
form I
You
can
want the
immediately-
gold standard back, right?
No, no.
I mean, so
Pretty
Bitcoin
far
keeps
from
taking off
Ethereum.
and wildly going up and down because forks keep threatening and they keep failing, and the main chain keeps being like, "Yeah, we got your back," and like a lot more institutional money is looking to be coming into it. But I mean, all it would take for it to go from 8 to 5 again would be for China to rile everybody up tomorrow and be like, "Oh, we banned Bitcoin again because we're China and we like bought a bunch and now we want to cause it to crash so we can like, buy more at low price."
In your opinion,
Like-
is like China Cartman? Because that's kind of
China-
what you're
whatever.
going for
I don't
there.
know. That was just the voice that came out. I mean, it sounds like something Cartman would do if he figured out what Bitcoin was. He would cause it to crash.
I can imagine some plot line in which Kyle gets really interested in Bitcoin, and then Carmen is super racist about the Jews hoarding
All
the
I know
coin.
is I only have like half a Bitcoin, and every once in a while I'm like, man, I should totally cash in on that while it's at $8,000, and I don't know, do something else with that money. But then I'm like, I don't need that $4,200 right now, so I'm
So
just
what's
gonna
your sell
sit
price?
on it. I have
What's
no
your sell
idea. I have
You've got to
no
establish
idea.
anyone who does investments, right? They say you have to decide when you're going to bail.
I mean, you don't necessarily
so
have
it's
to
like
decide when you're
gambling.
going to bail if you are holding it long-term value.
Sure, true. But I mean, like, so for my work, I hold stock options, right? And like, I've kind of got like that number in mind that's like, okay, yeah, I mean, if it hits that, like a certain amount, I'm going to sell. I'm not willing to gamble that. Is there, like, if overnight tonight it doubles in value, you still keep riding the roller coaster?
That is a good question. If it doubled in like if tomorrow I woke up and it were 16 grand a coin,
I mean, that's the best part about
Yeah,
Bitcoin is it does this
yeah,
the entire time.
you probably sell. Like, I don't know what the hell happened to make it go to 16, but you probably should sell. Unless but I'm like trying to hold long term because I think as more people get into it, I think it's just going to be like funny how much it takes off.
I agree
So
with
do you think
that.
more people are buying or are they mining right now to get it?
I mean, mining is
Mine is hard right now.
hard. Like, I mean,
Probably
it's
mining is-
mining's been hard for a long
What does
time.
that
yeah.
even mean? Mining.
So Bitcoin is entirely based off of
Hold on.
Bitcoin is based
Minecraft?
off the concept of
Minecraft. No. I got
Bitcoin is currency in Minecraft.
digital. It's a digital currency, right? No
Yeah.
government backs it, all that fun stuff. And I'm
math.
sorry in advance for not being a Bitcoin expert. For when
Neither am I.
whoever's watching this, forgive me for every error I'm about to say. But you validate a proof, and it's a cryptographic proof. And it requires a decent amount of computational power. And at this point, Bitcoin are hard enough to mine. It's a scarcity problem. So the longer Bitcoin is mined, the less and less are available in the pool to find a collision for. So in theory, it's like approaching infinity, right? And so as these coins become harder and harder to mine, more and more specialized rigs have to be created to mine it. And so people are making like dedicated hardware clusters for the purpose of mining this coin. And so that's why a lot of the other cryptocurrencies took off. It's like Bitcoin became hard to mine. So people are like, oh, let's try Ethereum, let's try Dogecoin, or whatever.
Well, some of the other, I mean, Ethereum, it being easy to mine initially was not the only benefit. Like they're doing stuff different, like smart contracts and stuff like that, like building actual logic into like the blockchain
code as blockchain, right?
Yeah, which by the way is what actual financial institutions are very interested in, and and Bitcoin. So what's Microsoft's one? They just released their blockchain technology on Azure. I can't pronounce that product. Azure. And like all these financial institutions are like very interested in blockchain because of the unmutable history of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that's going to be one of the interesting fields in the next like 10-15 years, is if you can understand blockchain technology and program against it, you are going to be extremely valuable to large financial institutions.
So can you learn that on Code Academy?
I honestly don't know. I have a few print books that I'm meaning to read.
Can you explain what is it that blockchain is going to be able to do for these companies that they can't do today?
I have no idea.
A distributed ledger. So I mean, imagine, if you will, that like I can't think of an exact application here, but imagine mute yourself first, you jackass.
Sorry.
I imagine a situation where I send money to Matt, and then Matt sends money to Silas, and then Silas sends it to Blaine, and then Blaine sends it back to me. A blockchain can record all of those transactions in a immutable manner, right? So it's like I can prove that went to that. And so,
but it's not just verified by one machine. Like all the machines in the pool are verifying that this is actually a thing that happened.
Right.
Like
as long as they have
in the case of blockchain, you have thousands upon thousands of nodes that verify that these things are something that happened.
So you might imagine just a financial institution, some commodity trader out of Chicago, I don't know, being able to do quick distributed transactions that are verifiable is pretty valuable. Think of banking in general. When you see money, some company gets swindled out of money and it gets transferred to one bank and then to another bank overseas, and then it's just gone, right? Like, you just lose those millions of dollars because it transferred to two banks, it went out of the United States, and that's just the end of the story. Blockchain could fix that, right?
But I mean,
so essentially, it would be in your example where you give money to Matt, who gives money to Silas, who gives money to me, who gives money back to you. What it prevents is you giving money directly to me, for example, and me being like, well, you didn't give it to me, and nobody else can validate it.
Mm-hmm.
We're here, you're saying everybody in that.
I mean, that's the best part about Bitcoin, right? Is that ability to just be like, I can prove that money moved from point A to point B.
I mean, your point A, point being it, in that A is an address and B is a Bitcoin address.
Right.
But attribution is not necessarily easy when it comes to Bitcoin,
but the technology of blockchain allows you to layer that on if you so choose, right?
That's because you've got other blockchain coins like Zcash and Monero, which are like the new ones that all the underground like drug deals are using, especially Monero, like because it touts itself as being it's untraceable. Like it is supposed to be completely anonymous.
Sure.
Where Bitcoin initially touted like that was one of the draws, but like when you try to get money out, like that's where and that would be the point where you always get traced, right? Is when you try to get money in and out, like when you try to pull money into or out of a bank account.
I mean, don't think for a second that the FBI isn't smart enough that they're, watching several Bitcoin wallet addresses. Actually, it was interesting. So, the FBI takedown of Dread Pirate Roberts and the Silk Road. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but an FBI
was that the
agent,
who is this 4chan anyway? Is that where that came from? Was that one?
I don't know. But the FBI agent, the technological resource on that case, just pled guilty to stealing a bunch of Bitcoin.
No shit, I didn't know that.
Just
he pled guilty to
something.
That's also not surprising in the slightest.
Right, but I think the most interesting thing,
because you think you could get away with it. You're like, this is Bitcoin. Nobody knows nothing about this.
Right. And I thought it was fascinating. I mean, it proves something that we should assume all along. The FBI, they know how these technologies work. They have people who are watching it. So when people are like, this would be anonymous and untraceable, I mean, people are idiots. OPSEC is something that most people are very bad at. So, it's one of those deals where it's not going to take terribly long to be like, oh, that wallet address is actually publicly associated with this person. They receive money from here. Oh, okay, we have our chain.
We've
So-
kind of talked about the ethics around this, something similar to this at work before, when one of the guys there, Sullivan, was used your name, was was asking if you remember what were they called, the brain, were they brain wallets? Was that the thing where you came up with your own phrase that generated the Bitcoin
Right.
address that your wallet was? Like
I
you
was probably actually working during this because I don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You gave it your own phrase, and then it would generate the Bitcoin address for you based on that phrase. And the idea was is that, like, you could remember the phrase and then always generate. Yeah, I think they were brain wallets. So what some guy did is he took a shitload of phrases, like popular phrases from books, pop culture, all this junk, and made he got all of the addresses that would be generated off of those and took ownership of it himself, of them, so he could then, when those people could retrieve them back if they ever got taken. Like, it was like some weird thing. So we were talking about this at work, and the guy said, so if you could, like, come up with this thing that just brute force addresses, and you could just use it to to just take money away from people. Essentially, you're just taking Bitcoin. How bad would you feel, and would you do it? And I'm like, I mean, I would be so tempted, right? Because you're just like, well, I mean, they did a piss poor job protecting themselves from this. Like,
So you don't walk in someone's house.
no, I get it.
Well, they did a piss poor job of protecting themselves with their doors
lock
unlocked.
the door, you stupid fuck. But no, I get it, and I wouldn't, but it's just.
But I would strongly consider.
I would strongly want to do that thing.
It's like when somebody leaves something out on their front lawn and you walk by and you're like, I could use that.
I do need a pink flamingo that is with stems.
All right.
So the question is Bitcoin and altcoins, whatever we want to call it, here to stay? And how is that going to affect all of us people who aren't doing ASIC mining and want to buy GPUs?
So one of the problems I've seen with Bitcoin, I mean, if you want to call it a problem, I don't know that you want to.
I do.
Okay. Is that one of the things that drives adoption of something like this is to be able to use it for something. But except right now, like right now is an issue because people are riding the fucking wave, because they just keep seeing Bitcoin at a record high week over week, right? So they're like,
Yeah.
oh man, I got to get in on that before that goes down. And eventually, maybe that bubble will pop, and they're not prepared to keep riding it out. So before all of these people came in with all the speculation, because it's been going up so fast, some of the worry was that people were viewing Bitcoin as a retirement vehicle is not a correct word, but like a place to stash wealth, because long term they think it's going to go up. But what they want to do, like the end goal of so many people of Bitcoin, is that they want it to be as usable as a fiat currency is. They want you to be able to buy things on the internet with it as easily as you can with your credit card.
Yeah.
And people that are just holding it because they think it will be valuable someday in the future are a little bit against some of that.
Right. Is that do they have that on the horizon? Is there talk of that?
Of what?
Making, like, having Bitcoin on your credit card and you can go to Taco Bell.
I mean, you can do stuff like that now. Cards exist that are like that, and you can go. There's a site, I can't remember the name of it right now, but you can buy things directly from Amazon using a proxy site. Basically, it'll buy the thing for you, and it costs a little bit more because of some transaction fees. It costs a little bit more than what the thing on Amazon would cost, but you buy it through this site via a link that you give it to Amazon, and with Bitcoin. and it gets shipped to you from Amazon and all that shit.
Huh.
But until like major retailers, speaking of major retailer, but until like Amazon is taking Bitcoin directly, like they're not achieving their true end goal.
Yeah.
At least from like the spirit of what Bitcoin was meant to be. But you go, and then you got major retailers like Overstock, who just not too long ago announced that they take Bitcoin directly as payment, and before they were just all selling it off almost immediately. A couple months ago, they changed their stance to we're not selling it off immediately. We're selling half and keeping the rest of the half long term.
Well, because eventually those companies want to turn it into cash because they
are
selling a product. They don't want to keep Bitcoin because they don't want to. They don't know how well stable it's going to be. So.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when the big boys start to play. Like, and by big boys, I mean like banks, countries, Goldman Sachs. Like, what's going to happen when the real big boys start to play with this?
The same thing that happens with all the rest of the money. They're going to have all of it, and we won't.
I mean, well, for the people that have some, when they drive the value up, that'll be good. At least for the people that hold Bitcoin.
Now they'll just get hired by Goldman Sachs.
Because they have Bitcoin?
Because they have it. Hey, we just got Bitcoin. You seem to have all the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We want you to work for us so we can have your Bitcoin.
I don't know how we talked about Bitcoin so long. Oh, hey, you have. How does it impact GPU sales in here? Negatively for gamers.
Yeah, also, that site that you were talking about is called Purse.io.
Purse.io, that sounds right.
Yeah. It is negative for GPU sales for gamers because everybody is buying them up and they drive the prices up.
Yeah, and you can never get the goddamn card when you want it so you can play Rocket League.
And NVIDIA and AMD now are releasing GPU-specific mining cards.
Yeah.
I'm assuming to charge a higher price for them and to hopefully get more gamers into purchasing those cards.
So the interesting thing is AMD will tell you that they couldn't care less about the miners and that gamers are their true thing, but they both fucking love miners because they buy the cards just as fast as they can.
Yeah.
The only downside is that AMD and NVIDIA aren't seeing all of that extra revenue that resellers are selling them for at higher costs. So even though they're selling more of them, which is good, they're just not making as much as they could if they were charging more for them.
When you've got the guys, what are the guys that make the ASIC miners? What's the big one? I can't think of their name right now. We were thinking about buying one, an Ant miner, but is that who makes that? Is it Ant? Whatever. So the ones you can buy from them to like use for your home use or whatever, they've almost certainly already been mining on those for however long, and their new stuff isn't even available for purchase yet. Like their new hardware. So it's just like to get. That's what makes mining so difficult is you have to be an institution to be like mining for real, unless you're using something like NiceHash.
Yep.
To do it in a pool.
I do.
Which I was generating like I don't know, in between $40 and $90 a month on when I was running it.
That's about what I run. All right, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's here to stay. It sucks.
I think it's definitely here to stay.
Thumbs
it's
up.
here to stay in some form. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to thumbs up. That's what happens.
Thumbs up. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, we're going to keep track of this.
Do we want to talk Razor phone?
I don't know. I don't know that
Anybody
anybody knows too much about it.
I was just looking at it online here, and
It's a very pretty device.
It came up because I was looking for a new phone, and
Razer has a phone, Sullivan. Did you even know this?
Oh, not like the Motorola Razr, like the gaming company.
Like the gaming company has a phone.
yeah.
And like
it looks really nice.
It does look nice, but whatever. Like I don't
know if they're going to be able to get anybody to buy it.
What I want to know is, can you play Rocket League on it? Because I just started playing Rocket League, you guys. I don't know if you know this, but
we do.
I'm level 17 now, so like I'm catching up.
You're kind of
I'm
like
still semi-pro, but someday I'll get to be a Rocketeer. That's what I was
So I
told.
guess the real question here is what. So I brought this phone up because I was looking at new phones, but what is the best phones out there right now that you guys are aware of?
I'm biased.
Did you get your Pixel?
Yeah, I got the Pixel 2 XL.
And that's why he's biased.
What's
He
the
likes his
camera
iPhone.
like? What's the camera like?
Did you hear what Sullivan said? He said that's why he's biased. He liked his iPhone better. I'm gonna be honest. Part of me really, really wishes I had the iPhone, whatever
X.
they named it, the X,
The
but
10.
purely because the screen is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is the screen really that disappointing on the XL? Or
No, the screen
do you
is
not
really
notice
nice
it?
on this. Actually, I like the screen a lot.
'Cause
What's
I've
the
only
camera
seen it-
like on it? Because
I
I've
don't-
heard that the,
I mean,
the
I don't
Pixel
know.
is
I'm not
really
a
good camera.
They do. They have really good cameras, but I have to
Pixel
take
2
that off of.
highest quality phone camera ever measured, if I recall.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
real good. But I'm not like a camera guy, so I can't throw like ISOs and apertures at you.
They
That's
designed
too
the
bad.
phone around the camera. Like the Google phones for a couple of generations now have done some processing on the photo to try to make them look nicer than just your standard hardware can now provide, because we're packing too much into too small a space.
Yeah.
So we use software to enhance a lot of this stuff. And Google for a while had been working on some AI to run on the phones and software. The Pixel is the first one where they actually implemented it in hardware and then have a direct channel between the camera and that hardware.
And
sure.
they're actually doing like physical optical stabilization instead of via software too, which is
No.
nice.
I want to mention that iPhone 10 also is sporting pretty much the same design and feature set as well. So you're going to see these two, I think, really trying to compete with each other.
I think it took
that
a while to
feature.
get used to switching from an iPhone to Pixel device where
Yeah.
the fingerprint reader is.
Is it on the back?
Yeah, it's on the back.
I like that
It took
so
a
much
while,
better.
but I think I like it better now. I hated it at first, but I think I'm on board.
That's good to hear, since you gave me so much shit for liking it on the back.
I think it's still a little wonky. Like I had to get used to like pulling it out of the pocket and having it ready to go when like I have it at my face, right?
So I've been on Android for 6 years, I think, or 5 years, and yeah, about 6 years. And I had to switch to an iPhone 7 temporarily because I had a device go out on me. And so I was rocking iPhone 7 for about a month and a half, and like I hated the home button thing. People kept telling me, "Well, it's great if it's just sitting on the desk, you can just press it and be at your phone." But that wasn't my use case. Like 90% of the time, I was pulling it out of my pocket and like boom, right there with my finger.
Yep.
Right? I keep it in my left pocket, so my goal was to like be able to pull it out with my left hand and then switch it to my right hand. And at that exact moment, if I wanted to unlock it, I could just slide my finger right up to it, and then away I went. I just loved that. And with the iPhone, it felt clunky. Like pull it out and be like, oh, hit the thing. Oh, okay. I don't know.
By the way, for anyone who's watching, we don't have sponsors from any of these companies.
I sponsor myself.
If you are one of these companies we're talking about and would like to sponsor the podcast, you're welcome to send us money via Bitcoin.
About like the completely lackluster enthusiasm we have for our phones. Yeah, absolutely. We'll give you a real
Pixel 2
human
was the
response.
best or possibly worst phone I've ever experienced.
Oh, there are many things I loved about this phone, and a lot of things that I bitched about that weren't necessarily Pixel 2 related, mostly Android related, and also relating to like specifically how Okta sandboxes things.
Yeah. I mean, I think the most important thing to think about with the phones is that we need to take a break to talk about Doritos. Tasty Doritos. Wonderful in every situation.
Oh, or a nice bottle of Talisker 18.
Yeah.
Your local Hy-Vee.
We have a very wide spread of sponsors.
Or how about a Chick-fil-A chaser?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
Chick-fil-A,
Refreshing.
Doritos,
And not available on Sundays.
Because Jesus.
Because Jesus.
So,
All right, Razer phone, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm.
To be determined?
I really don't.
What makes it interesting?
I mean, they're trying to be like, here's your phone, gamer neck beard.
Anthony's just straight sideways. He's like, Razer is.
All right, so they say a 120 hertz refresh
So,
rate.
I'm
Yeah, it
gonna
has
be
a big
really
display.
lame on this. And I watched MBK HDs or whatever the Marquis. What's his name?
Marquise Brown or whatever. the hell's
Marquise
his name.
Brown. Yeah, I really like his reviews on stuff. And he did a review on it, and he's like, "It's a nice phone, but I don't know why."
I just don't game that much.
But it's not
It's
like
not for gaming necessarily.
it's not even running like anything particularly more powerful than the other Android powerhouses, is it?
Right. I mean, that's what I'm
No.
looking at. Like the specs, as far as I can tell, I'm like, unless it has a dual core or a quad, no, unless it has like a quad core processor or something like that, in it,
Oh.
and just
I think,
it must have-
I think the speakers are supposed to be pretty nice, like on either end of it, and it
This thing
gives
has
you
a
it gives you like the layout, like the space on the sides. Like it doesn't care about your bezels being thin, right? It's giving you space to hold the phone so you can play games on it.
yeah.
Yeah, the two selling points are the forward-facing speakers, and then it has the 120 hertz refresh
Yeah.
display. And that's really the only two selling points over anything.
One thing that's
Yeah.
interesting to me, and it must be possibly the display, or maybe it's just the processing power, but the Razer site says that's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. And by comparison,
Yeah, it's got a
your,
shitload of
your
battery.
Pixel 2 XL sports 3,500.
Yeah, the battery is going to
yeah,
be pretty killer on it.
Yep.
Hmm.
Most reviews I've read of it say they get about a day and a half of actual use out of the Razer phone. But
That was also one of the biggest switches from iOS to Android. Is that comparatively, Android battery sucks balls. Like they can't manage a battery to save themselves, and I don't know why. And it's probably with how much the OS
the
is
API
letting
was
other
written.
shit do. Whereas iOS, I mean, I could forget to charge that thing and not even worry. Like the battery life on my iPhone was amazing.
all right,
Yeah, it's pretty
moving
good.
on.
So we've already voted, but
Yep,
we
already
just want to
voted.
rehash. Good.
I mean, my vote is really just I'm not interested in the Razer phone because I have a different phone.
One of those good.
All right, last topic then maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Thor or California surfer makes a cigarette surfboard.
Well, I haven't seen Thor, and I don't smoke.
So super condensed version of that is guy picked up a bunch of cigarette butts and made a surfboard out of them
Is
because
he making a statement?
well apparently he doesn't have a fucking
Well, he's
job.
he's from California, so probably he's trying
And he
to
couldn't
make
afford to buy a
statement.
new surfboard.
I mean, the statement I would be trying to make is stop throwing your cigarette butts away, you terrible, terrible assholes.
Well, maybe that was his statement too. I mean, he did pick up all those cigarette butts. Good for
I
him.
still have a list of some cars, descriptions, and license plates that I need to send in passive aggressively to the Iowa State Patrol, and they will send a letter to the people that littered. And all you have to do is send it in and like a report on like the date and time it happened and a description of the vehicle and the license plate, and they'll send a letter to these people that own the vehicles about how
Oh,
they should
man.
litter from their vehicle.
You're gonna litter so often according to the state. You should not have told me that.
Don't please.
Oh man, this is gonna be great.
Yeah,
Oh, they're trying to make a documentary about it.
about the 10,000
Surfboard?
cigarette butt.
Following the success of the project, Taylor is now planning to create an environmental surfboard documentary
Okay.
of the making of the board, while also showing the harmful effects of beach pollution. He intends to build 3 different models for the film. Oh my gosh, he's going to build a whole bunch of these. A
Aren't
fleet.
cigarette butts like number 1 or 2 on like most littered things?
That makes sense.
Anthony speaks.
That was
mean-
definitive.
Can you guess the most? Can you guess the most littered item in the world?
Oh, you already Googled it. You're a step ahead of me.
Yeah.
Cigarette butts. I don't know. You already said it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's cigarette butts.
Can you guess it? Did you Google it?
I mean, I'm not sure if these guys are taking into account like microplastics.
We do need to take into account the microplastics. That's what I wake up saying in the morning.
Microplastics?
I mean,
Sorry,
I
it's
just-
been
Is that
been
those
beaten into my head.
What does it say?
Microplastics.
What does what say?
The number
What's
one.
number one?
I mean, I'm trying to find a list. I want a BuzzFeed style list, and I can't.
I thought you found one.
Well, I found Motley
found one.
Fool, and it wasn't a list. It was just, can you guess the thing? And then I had to read some lame ass article.
One.
This is America in 2017. I should be able to find a ranked list.
They're
Most
Cigarette
litter-
butts.
cigarette
really?
butts
It's
is what I'm
totally
reading.
cigarette butts.
Yeah.
America's got a butt problem.
Hey, that's the article I was reading.
Oh, good.
Or skipping over.
No, I'm gonna stop looking it up though. Well, that's good. I mean, good for him. And documentaries, right? We
I
need
mean,
more of
I'm
those.
all about documentaries. The weirder, the better, I guess.
I mean, you know.
The
But
weirder,
how
the
long?
better.
Did it say how long it took him to collect all 10,000 butts?
Let's see.
Probably a week.
Let's see. So to create the article, so we decided littered cigarette butts. Good place to start. No, it doesn't really say how long.
Ooh, I can fund his cigarette butt thing.
200 hours of failed attempts. The roach tail was out on the waves.
Huh. Also, this just kind of sounds gross.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's disgusting.
I wouldn't pick that shit up. With my
Maybe
hand.
he used a
Did
poker.
he smoke any of the butts?
He might have. I mean, didn't say that either. I doubt it if he's a surfer, but because that's like a lot of hard work. It's also a tiny surfboard. So you have to be really good at surfing because longboards are easy, shortboards are hard.
I don't know anything about it.
Short boards are hard.
Blaine would be the closest you're gonna get. Is that true of snowboards as well?
That's
Do they
probably
make short?
true,
Do they make
yes.
short snowboards? Is that
I mean,
a
most
thing?
of the time
I know they do for skis.
You're
for
gonna buy it
blades and
size
stuff.
to what you're trying to your body weight and size for the most part. But to be fair, you probably longer stuff is more forgiving than shorter stuff.
Oh.
Things things happen a lot faster on shorter boards. So if you're not ready for it,
Do they?
eat your shit.
I'm watching part of this little video. It looked, oh, they're using gloves. Oh, they had a team of people work together to collect them.
Ah, that's cheating. He didn't do it then. Him and some other people did it.
And then he smushes a whole bunch of them into a space. He's smushing. I mean, if we wanted to, I could share my screen.
Smash.
Let me just share my screen. Everyone can watch this with me.
We're
Oh,
gonna
no,
get
that's not how you do that.
totally taken
Why
down.
why does your mic sound so nice, Silas? Is it
Because-
because you paid real money for it?
Because oh, there it is. You can see it? Can you see what's going on?
Yeah.
Let me make this full screen for everyone. Check this out.
That's not working the way I expected.
Can you see it?
We're
Yeah,
totally
shirtless
gonna get taken
dude.
down.
Oh, that was one of those grabbers from the commercial.
And gloves, and then a team of people, and that's a gross amount of cigarette butts.
Yeah, it is.
Now he's gonna
That is what it
smush.
is.
This is
Smush,
where
smush, smush.
he smushed. Oh, he put it in like a goopy. He gooped it together with goop,
He should have just glued it together.
Okay.
and then styrofoam, and then he sign off the goop. Oh yes,
No,
and
that's the grumbo
form.
being shaved away.
look at that. All right.
Sorry,
Right.
I outed myself as a true intellectual Rick and Morty watcher.
Wait, what did you say?
It's making fun of Rick and Morty watchers.
I didn't realize until
You gotta have
this
high IQ to
season
watch that show.
Yeah,
Silas.
apparently people who watch Rick and Morty think they're smart, and it's like, no.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, look at that.
I thought that was only a thing with like Futurama.
All right, is surfboard thumbs up or thumbs down?
What are we thumb upping and thumb downing about the surfboard?
Anything doesn't matter.
How much money did he make in the process? That's really what I need to know.
I mean, you do you, buddy. You want to make cigarette boards? I'm okay with that.
Reduce
Yeah.
costs and scale up.
You do you, man. You do you.
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
cigarette boards.
Hey,
All right.
Anthony and Blaine, you can
I'm all
fuck
over
off.
that.
Cigarette butts are gross, man.
And Anthony said almost nothing that whole segment, only to just be like, thumbs down.
He's harsh but fair. Harsh but fair.
Is he?
I could do another sponsor thing.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Free 2-day shipping.
What did you buy? Do you want to advertise the item you purchased?
No,
Yeah.
it's private.
That's private.
Car mount.
Hey, picks of the week. Is that your pick of the week, Anthony?
Generic Chinese manufacturer car mount.
What's
Perfect for
wait,
all
pick of the week for what?
It works
Anything.
really well.
For the black and white pictures
Oh
that I
god.
challenged you and
Yeah,
Anthony
which
to.
I've not done at all.
Good. I only wanted to challenge people who couldn't do it or who would refuse to do it. So like I challenged my grandma who's on Facebook but doesn't know how to use it. So she's never.
I thought you were going to be like my
No,
grandma
no.
who's blind or something.
Oh, no, she's just
My
not.
grandma who only sees in black and white.
And thanks, Anthony, for that. Please
Grandma's an
stand
asshole.
by. Look at Anthony. Oh, and then he made it. Oh yes, perfect.
Did he just stand by himself?
Yeah.
What?
Why is there a
Oh, dude.
Native American at the top?
Check it out. We can see all of the folders he has for his Facebook.
Porn, weird porn.
Starbound,
super weird
Elite
porn.
Dangerous, D&D, Brewery.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
I mean, I'll read them to you.
No, it's fine. I don't need that nasty ass shit.
All right. I think that's it for this week.
All right.
Great.
Council is adjourned.
We need a gavel.
Gung gung.
No, that's Law and Order.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
I
want
think
to
we
check
do
out
need a
all past
gavel.
episodes of
Trying.
Councilcast, you can go to
Metzger's gavel.
councilcast.org, and all our podcasts are recorded live on YouTube, but you can find audio files on iTunes.
This is going to be on iTunes.
yeah, watch
Yeah.
out.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that's crazy. Like 3 people might do that.
Fantastic.
We're gonna be
And
famous.
next week we'll actually be more prepared. Hopefully.
Maybe.
I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Cool.
I thought it went
Right.
really
Can you
well.
turn us off there, Silas?
Oh no, not yet. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Stop broadcasting.